This is the Sapphire tale which the mother has read or narrated in October 1906. Once upon a time, far away in the east, there was a small country that lived in order and harmony, where each one in his own place played the part for which he was made, for the greatest good of all. Farmers, craftsmen, workmen, and merchants all had but one ambition, one concern, to do their work as best as they could. This was in their own interest, firstly because, since each one had freely chosen his occupation, it suited his nature and gave him pleasure, and also because they knew that all good work was fairly rewarded, so that they, their wives, and their children could lead a quiet and peaceful life, without useless luxury, but with a generous provision for their needs, which was enough to satisfy them. The artists and scientists, few in number, but each devoted to his science or art, his purpose in life, were supported by the grateful nation, which was the first to benefit from their useful discoveries and to enjoy their ennobling works. Thus sheltered from the cares of the struggles for life, these scientists had a single aim: that their experimental research, their sincere and earnest studies, should serve to allay the sufferings of humanity, to increase its strength and well-being by making superstition and fear draw back as far as possible before the knowledge that brings solace and enlightenment. The artists, whose whole will was free to concentrate upon their art, had only one desire: to manifest beauty, each according to his own highest conception. Among them, as friends and guides, were four philosophers, whose entire life was spent in profound study and luminous contemplations, to widen constantly the field of human knowledge, and one by one to lift the veils from what is still a mystery. All were content, for they knew no bitter rivalries, and could each devote themselves to the occupation or the study that pleased them. Since they were happy, they had no need for many laws, and their code was only this: a very simple counsel to all: be yourself, and for all a single law to be strictly observed, the law of charity, whose highest part is justice, the charity which will permit no wastage, and which will hinder no one in his free evolution. In this way, very naturally, everyone works at once for himself and for the collectivity. This orderly and harmonious country was ruled by a king, who was king simply because he was the most intelligent and wise, because he alone was capable of fulfilling the needs of all. He alone was both enlightened enough to follow and even to guide the philosophers in their loftiest speculations, and practical enough to watch over the organization and well-being of his people, whose needs were well known to him. At the time when our narrative begins, this remarkable ruler had reached a great age. He was more than 200 years old, and although he still retained all his lucidity and was still full of energy and vigor, he was beginning to think of retirement, a little weary of the heavy responsibilities he had borne for so many years. He called his young son Meota to him. The prince was a young man of many and varied accomplishments. He was more handsome than men usually are. His charity was of a perfect equity, and his achieved justice, his intelligence shone like a sun, and his wisdom was beyond compare. For he had spent part of his youth among workmen and craftsmen to learn by personal experience the needs and the requirements of their life, and he had spent the rest of his time alone or with one of the philosophers as his tutor, in seclusion in the square tower of the palace, in study or in contemplative repose. Meoter bowed respectfully before his father, who seated him at his side, and spoke to him in these words: "My son, I have ruled this country for more than 170 years, and although to this day all men of goodwill have seemed content with my guidance, I fear that my great age will soon no longer allow me to bear so lightly the heavy responsibility of maintaining order and watching over the well-being of all. My son, you are my hope and my joy. Nature has been very generous to you. She has showered you with her gifts, and by a wise and model education you have developed them most satisfactorily. The whole nation, from the humblest peasant to our great philosophers, has a complete and affectionate trust in you. You have been able to win their affection by your kindness and their respect by your justice. It is therefore quite natural that their choice should fall on you when I ask for leave to enjoy a well-earned repose. But as you know, according to age-old custom, no one may ascend to the throne who is not Biyun, that is, unless he is united by the bonds of integral affinity with the one who can bring him the peace of equilibrium by a perfect match of tastes and abilities. It was to remind you of this custom that I called you here, and to ask you whether you have met the young woman who is both worthy and willing to unite her life with yours, according to our wish. It would be a joy to me, my father, to be able to tell you that I have found one with whom my whole being the one whom my whole being awaits, but, alas, this is yet to be. The most refined maidens in the kingdom are all known to me, and for several of them I feel a sincere liking and a genuine admiration, but no one of them has awakened in me the love which can be the only rightful bond, and I think I can say, without being mistaken, that in return none of them has conceived a love for me. Since you are so kind as to value my judgment, I will tell you what is in my mind. It seems to me that I should be better fitted to rule our little nation if I were acquainted with the laws and customs of other countries. I wish therefore to travel the world for a year, to observe and to learn. I ask you, my father, to allow me to make this journey, and who knows, I may return with my life's companion, the one for whom I can be and all happiness and all protection. Your wish is wise, my son. Go, and your father's blessing be with you. Amid the western ocean lies a little island of value for its valuable forests. One radiant summer's day, a young girl is walking slowly in the shade of the wonderful trees. Her name is Liane, and she is a fair among women. Her lithe body sways gracefully beneath light garments. Her face, whose delicate skin seems paler for her carmine lips, is crowned with a heavy coil of hair so golden that it shines, and her eyes, like two deep doors opening on limitless blue, light up her features with their intellectual radiance. Liane is an orphan, alone in life, but her great beauty and rare intelligence have attracted much passionate desire and sincere love. But in a dream she has seen a man who seems from his garments to come from a distant land, and the sweet and serious gaze of the stranger has won the heart of the girl. Now she can love no other. Since then she has been waiting and hoping. It is to be free to dream of the handsome face seen in the night that she is walking amid the solitude of the lofty woods. The dazzling sunlight cannot pierce the thick foliage. The silence is hardly broken by the light rustle of the moss beneath the footsteps of the walking girl. All sleeps in the heavy drowse of a noonday heat, and yet she feels a vague unease, as if invisible beings were hiding in the thickets, watchful eyes peeping from behind trees. Suddenly a bird's song rings out clear and joyful. All uneasiness vanishes. Liane knows that the forest is friendly. If there are beings in the forest, they cannot wish her harm. She is seized by an emotion of great sweetness. All appears beautiful and good to her, and tears come to her eyes. Never has her hope been so ardent as the thought of the beloved stranger. It seems to her that the trees quivering in the breeze, the moss rustling beneath her feet, the bird renewing its melody, all speak to her of the one whom she awaits. At the idea that perhaps she is going to meet him, she stops short, trembling, presses her hands against her beating heart, her eyes closed to savor to the full the exquisite emotion. And now the sensation grows more and more intense until it is so precise that Liane opens her eyes, sure of a presence. Oh, wonder of wonders! He is there, he in truth, as she has seen him in her dreams. More handsome than men usually are. It was Meota. With a look they have recognized each other. With a look they have told each other the long waiting and the supreme joy of rediscovery. For they have known each other in a distant past, now they are sure of it. She places her hand in the hand he offers her, and together, silent, in a silence filled with thoughts exchanged, they wend their way through the forest. Before them appears the sea, calm and green beneath a happy sun. A great ship sways gently near the shore. Meekly, trustingly, Liane follows Meota into the boat which awaits them, drawn up on the sand. 2 strong oarsmen put it to sea and soon bring them alongside the vessel. Only as she sees the little island disappearing below the horizon does the girl say to her companion, "I was waiting for you, and now that you have come, I have followed you without question. We are made for each other. I feel it, I know it, and I know also that now and forever you will be my happiness and my protection. But I loved my island birthplace with its beautiful forests, and I would like to know, to what shore are you taking me?" "I have sought you throughout the world, and now that I have found you, I have taken your hand without asking you anything, for in your eyes I saw that you expected me. From this moment and forever, my beloved shall be all to me, and if I have made her leave her little wooded isle, it is to lead her as a queen to her kingdom, and the only land on earth that is in harmony, the only nation that is worthy of her." October 1906. Thank you.